Hi, good evening. Where is the iPad down there?
No.
Oh, it's there. I'm just going to share. Look. My daughter's laughing at me because I'm just getting snuggly under the quilt. I'm just going to share this video. Stop. See if any other people join us. How are you doing? Say hello. Tell me what's going on. Gonna be sick of the sight of me, you know, before long. Keep popping up, doing these lives. Okay, so I've just shared that now. Hi, Lee. How are we doing, people? How are we getting on? Me and Maya say hello, don't we? My girl. Has anyone got any questions they want to ask? I did my session, class, or whatever you want to call it, with parents. Oh my god, the dog's joined us now as well.
She's on the call,
Hello.
Dad.
It's alright, it's fine. Hi, Nikita. So if any of you still want to join up for those for the in the following weeks, then please feel free. Just watching TV. What have you been watching? I've just been watching The Undateables. I love it. Love it. It's just such a nice programme. We love it, don't we? Okay, so the title of this tonight is
Corona?
No, the title isn't Corona. Is we don't have control. And I think, and this is something I'm going to keep reminding you, we do not have control over this current situation. In fact, we don't have control over much at all, including our thoughts. So a lot of people are going to find themselves feeling anxious at the moment. As someone said here, my anxiety is so bad with everything that's going on. How can I stop this feeling I'm feeling? Well, the feeling you are feeling and experiencing is coming because of the thoughts that you're having. Your thoughts are creating your feelings 100% of the time. No exceptions whatsoever. So you can't stop it because you can't stop thoughts. Okay? You can't stop thoughts coming in. And now with everything that's going on... Wait, can you turn that off?
Yeah.
With everything that's going on, you are going to have thoughts, okay? And so you're going to have feelings about it. We're human. Literally, we're all going to have it. But what you can do is allow the thoughts to come, accept them, appreciate and accept and know that there's going to be some discomfort attached to it. Like, this is not normal for any of us, is it? This is not something that we're used to. It's not something we've been through before. There's loads of knock-on effects in terms of business, incomes, all sorts of stuff. And we can't control it. But you can. Hang on, let me just remove that. But what you can do is you can accept it more, as in that you're going to have thoughts and you're going to feel a bit shitty about it. I've got a lot of this stuff figured out in some ways. It's something that, I don't hold on to anxious thinking for too long and things like that. But I have felt anxious this last week, particularly because I've just seen too many things going around and it just keeps popping into my mind like, this is weird, this is strange, and then it almost like feels a little bit strange, doesn't it? And then but then I notice it and I think I'll just leave it alone. Someone saying here it's so scary, and yeah, it is really in a sense, but we're only feeling the fear again through our thoughts. Now, I know some people are in a situation where loved ones are unwell and things like that, and it's not nice. Like, it's not nice. And people, 1 in 2 people get cancer. Like, people are dealing with this all the time. Eric, nice haircut. I've just washed it, Eric. I've had a wash.
She's
But
got
thanks.
a different cartoon.
But thanks. And I appreciate that. But for most of us right now who are, touch wood, still okay, it's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear, it's the uncertainty, it's the what ifs. That's the bit that is creating our current experience to be really uncomfortable. Okay. And half the time it's because we're not just accepting what is, being kind and compassionate to ourselves, and appreciating that at a time where we're really confused and we really feel so out of control and things are so unpredictable, that we need love and compassion. Yeah, we don't need to keep having things shoved down our throats. We don't need to keep... hi, Sue. Hope you're well. We don't need to keep reading stuff, and because all it's doing is layering. It's layering thoughts on top of thoughts on top of thoughts. Yes, this is a shit situation. Yes, this is something that we've got to all go through, but we're going to survive it. Like, we are. And someone will say, yeah, but people are dying. People are dying every day, and I'm not minimising it. I get that it's scary. I don't want to be stuck in the house. I don't want to feel like my whole routine and structure is ripped from under me. But the reality is I have no choice. So there's two ways in which I can experience that. I can spend every day worrying and being frightened and panicked, or I can accept, be kind to myself, be compassionate to myself, make the best of a bad situation and know that it will pass. That's all I can do. And that's all that any of us can do. But your experience right now, for most of you, for those of you that are not unwell at the moment, is your feelings are from your thinking. Let's have a look at some of your questions. John, what's the best way to help partner with anxiety without making things worse? Okay, you can't make things worse, okay? That's the fear of a lot of people with loved ones with anxiety, that they tiptoe around the people because they don't want to make it worse. If it's created from thinking, anxious feelings of anxiety come from anxious thinking. So it's only coming from your partner's thoughts. You can't make it worse. One day your partner could look at you and think, they're making me anxious, and then overthink it, and then another day they might look at you differently. It's within them, okay? So there's not much that you can do. The best thing you can do is listen, love and compassion. Be alongside, and if they need a bit of gentle reassurance, but don't go in trying to fix problems and solve problems for them and give lots of suggestions, because there's nothing they can do. It's just about their thoughts starting to settle. I've got loads. Try and get them to watch some of my videos if you can. I've got loads on anxiety. You know, it's for your partner to understand that the thoughts are creating the feelings, and not to be so fearful of the symptoms, the physical symptoms, and the situation that they're in, this cycle of fear, which I appreciate is so difficult right now. And a lot of people will say they've got health anxiety. Well, every single person who has anxiety has some level of health anxiety, because ultimately anxiety is a fear for our lives. And ultimately what links to us being alive is our health, isn't it? So, you know, people categorise it as health or whatever. So every single person in the universe who, well, everybody experiences anxiety, but for those who suffer more frequently with anxiety are going to feel it more right now. So you're not alone. There's hundreds and thousands and millions of them, okay? And I know that doesn't necessarily make it any easier because it feels rotten, but you will get through this patch as much as any other patch, okay? How the media and so on portray it and how others are acting makes me more anxious than the issue itself sometimes. Yeah, because you'll have thoughts about that. So people can see people panic buying, and then you can see pictures of elderly people not being able to get stuff that they need. And any person with a level of compassion will see that and think, oh, that's awful, that's really sad, what about these poor people? And yet that's nice and shows that we're kind and we're caring, but if we can only do what we can do. And if we can't change that, and the situation is as it is, it's not helpful for you to keep going over it in your head, because the more you go over it, the more you're going to have feelings about it and you're going to feel rubbish. Yeah, someone's here saying, I'm convinced the worst will happen. Well, that's not a nice place to be, is it? Because the worst could happen for any of us. Like, no amount of worrying, and I said this earlier on my class thing, or maybe my private group, I can't remember, but no amount of worrying, there's no correlation between me getting a virus or not getting a virus and the amount of worrying that I do. So thinking about it constantly, imagining what it might be like to have the sore throat and going through the stages of what might happen after that, and lots of people then thinking the worst case has been on a ventilator, then you might die. Like, thinking about that stuff and imagining it and having that in the front of my mind has no correlation to whether I get it or not. If I do, I do. And obviously I'll take practical steps to hopefully not do. I can only do so much. We can all only do so much. But yet, what's going on in here, imagining it, thinking about what it might be like, how long it might last, all of that stuff is the most useless waste of thoughts in the world, because it isn't going to change the outcome. So to me, if I find myself having those thoughts, then I kind of recognise it and I'm aware of it, and I will just remind myself, like, it's not helpful. I don't need to know that. I don't need to have it figured out. I just need to focus on right now. And I did a video the other day saying I'll check with myself. Are you okay right now? Yes. And so I remind myself, have I got a virus right now and am I ill? No. And that's what I'm going to stay with for right now. And if I got ill, then in that moment I might say I'm ill, but am I okay right now? Yes, I'm okay. And each stage we go through, we're okay, and we remind ourselves that we're okay, because thinking that we might not be okay just creates suffering and creates tension. And actually I would imagine there's a heck of a lot of people right now feeling unwell, thinking that they may even have the virus because they've got a sore throat, or because they're dizzy, or they've got headaches, because we're tense. Like, we're tense, and when we're tense and we're stressed, so many things happen in our body, inflammation, that can make us feel run down. So again, it's really important not to assume ahead. So if we get a bit of a sore throat or we feel a bit dizzy, not to straight away sort of start figuring out what that means. Actually, what it means in that moment is that you feel a bit dizzy, you've got a headache and a sore throat, and that's it right now. So it's staying with what is right now. My anxiety, I don't feel real. I don't feel I'm in my own body. I feel I'm going insane, and now have this terrible going on in the world is making me think bad thoughts, like it's not worth living now. Okay, so, excuse me. So, okay, what happens is our world is shrinking right now. Temporarily, our world is shrinking. And when our world starts to shrink, we start to believe our thoughts to be true. We start to try and control things more. So we're wondering more about what if and how this happens. And that then creates feelings of feeling not very nice. It's a bit of a vicious cycle. You're not going insane, yeah? It sounds like what you're experiencing is your world shrinking, and then your brain is almost trying to switch off because it just doesn't want to worry anymore. It wants a break, okay? It's really common in anxiety for people to feel like they're not in their own bodies, and that, to me, it's a point of our brain. It's like we need to listen to what's going on, and in a way it's kind of saying, slow down, I want to be away from this. So you may have irrational thoughts right now because your world has shrunk. You may have more irrational thoughts than normal because your world has shrunk and is shrinking. You may have more scary thoughts because your world is shrinking. I think we're probably all having more scary thoughts at the moment. However, that doesn't mean we need to see them as true. They're not true. They're just thoughts. So, yeah, you might have more of them at the moment. You will not be alone. I can promise you that. Let's have a look. The virus is the last thing on my mind. I've got far worse things going on in my life. Yeah, there's lots of people that will have, we're always faced with difficult situations, aren't we? I hope you're okay, though. Lee, I'm missing football, so I'm watching Gary Neville's Soccer Box. Good on you. Finding another way round. I like it. It's nice to know you're here most nights. Thanks, John. Yeah, I will try and pop on as often as I can. Okay. Let's have a look back down here. You're right. You need to focus on what's true and not false or don't know. Okay, so Do you know what? None of your thoughts are true. They're just thoughts. And any thoughts about what might happen, how it might happen, what it might be like, you may think you have it all figured out. You may think that even past experience tells you what it's likely to be like, at the moment. So we're kind of going, well, this has happened in Spain and this has happened in China, so this is probably what's going to happen. All of that is not guaranteed, none of it. And I think to ground yourself, it's really important that you only stick with what's guaranteed, which is now. Yeah, we're having this discussion, it's happening, it's here. Yeah, beyond this, when I come off this and beyond we go, none of it, we don't know. We don't know. And so trying to figure it out just creates tension and creates suffering, like massive suffering. Let me just try and grab this. I was doing this earlier on my call with my classes online, and one of the things I talk to children about, and if you've looked at the 3 principles before, Catherine, thank you, a bit scared, worried about my elderly mum. Of course you will be, like, that's okay, and you're going to have thoughts about it. You're going to have thoughts of, is my mum going to be okay, mum's older, etc, etc. They are thoughts, okay, they're not your current reality, they're worried thoughts. So they're going to come and they're not going to feel nice. Like, that's part of being human. But allow yourself a break from them. You don't have to focus on them. You don't have to have them figured out, because, again, you worrying about it and having it figured out, or what you think is figured out in your head, is not going to change the outcome at all. So when I talk with children particularly, I talk about like the snow globe. And when we're shaking it and it's all murky and it's like there's a snowstorm going on in there, and that's like our thoughts. And at the minute, everyone's doing this. Everyone is shaking, reading something on Facebook, the next report, speaking to everybody about it. It's non-stop. And so we're constantly shaking like this, and we don't leave it alone. Yet when we leave thoughts just to come and go, they do exactly what happens in here. They settle. And then you've got all this clarity you then have. Yeah? So there's snow in there. We're all going to have those thoughts, but it's what you do with them. So if you have a thought, oh, my elderly parent, I'm worried about them, you can't help having that thought. And that's going to come and it's going to settle. It's going to go, and you're going to be thinking about something else, because that's how thought works. Yet if you go, my elderly mum, I'm worried about her, oh my goodness, what if this happens? How would I ever manage without her? How sad would it be? Etc. You're doing this, and it's creating a thought storm, which is creating feelings of discomfort, and it's not nice. So you're going to have the thoughts, allow them to do their thing, they're going to pass, they're going to go. That's what he keeps telling me in my head, but I don't believe him. Good. My rainbow group, busy planning things for them. That's nice. A lovely distraction. So yeah, so remember, thoughts are not truths, they're just thoughts. We're so good, aren't we, at trying to have everything figured out and trying to control everything, and yet we can't control anything. This virus actually is an example of exactly that. Like, how many people 3 weeks ago, I mean, I certainly had so many things figured out, planned, holidays booked, things I was going to do with my business, courses, was all raring to go, all excited, had it all planned out already and all started, and then actually it's all gone to shit. And the reason is because ultimately we don't control things outside of us. We don't. And that's always something that's possible, that things can just change. The only thing we have is right now. So even if you have to say directly to yourself, and I've had to do it a little bit more this last week, even if you have to say directly to yourself more, even say it out loud, but say it, certainly say it loud enough in your head, is that when you find yourself getting carried away and you're shaking that snow globe and you are creating that thought storm, remind yourself, all I have is right now. Am I okay? Yes. Never mind the yes, but what about this, but what if this, but what if right now, am I okay? Yes, stay with that. Stay with that. That's all you've got. All the guarantee you've got is right now. Thank you for your support from County Mayo. Oh, my granddad was from County Mayo. It's a lovely little place. It's like almost like a little fake town. It doesn't seem real. It's just so cute and dinky. Emma, don't stop being excited about the future. Oh, definitely. It's on hold. I'm now excited about what I might watch on Netflix and spending time with this little monkey that's hiding. And I've just had to shift my...
What about this little monkey?
shift...
Wait,
Hurry up.
wait.
Oh, hang on. Don't show the tip, Maya. And this, and spending time with this little fur ball. So I've just had to shift my focus, but yeah, absolutely. But thank you for that. How do you let them come and go and not get involved with them? You say let them come and go. Do you just say whatever thoughts or whatever? Right, okay, so thoughts, we don't have to do anything for thoughts to come and go. That's just how they work. Thoughts are transient. They come and they go. That's how they work. That's how human nature works. It's how thoughts work naturally. What happens is we hold on to them and we layer them and we question them, and that's what keeps them around for longer. So it's not about stopping them, because we're going to have thoughts, but it's about allowing them to come, letting the feelings do whatever they're doing. Feelings are good because they're there as a warning sign. They're telling us something, and then the thoughts will go and the feeling will pass. So it's more about, it sounds a bit weird this, but it's more, there's nothing to do. It's about stopping doing potentially what you're doing. So if you catch yourself layering thoughts, so you might have one thought, okay, I'm worried. So someone's just put here, I'm worried about my dad as he has COPD and other illnesses. So something like that might have a thought, okay, I'm worried about my dad, he has COPD. Okay, that's okay. You've got that thought. That's going to come with probably an uncomfortable feeling. Oof, not nice. Okay, I'm worried about my dad. That's okay. I'm allowed to be worried. There's a difference between going, okay, yeah, I'm allowed to be worried. I'm worried about my dad. Full stop. Rather than, I'm worried about my dad. What can I do to stop it? How can I control this? What do I need to do? Have I rang him enough? Have I done this? Has he got everything? Have I done enough of this? What if this happens? What would happen? Oh my God, let me just Google what COPD. Let me try and Google how many people have had the virus who had COPD, who have died. Let me do this, let me do that. And that's what we do. We hold on to it. And we hold on to it for dear life because we want rid of it and we want to control it. And yet, I don't want to discount what Gail's just said on here about being worried about her dad, because you're okay to be worried. But right now, your dad doesn't have it and nothing bad has happened to him. And so it's not reality just at this moment. So the feelings and the suffering are about what might happen, and you don't need to suffer. Because actually, if your dad got poorly, touch wood that he doesn't, and none of you do, none of us do, but you would deal with what you had to deal with, and you would know what to do for the best, because that's what our gut instinct tells us, and that's all we can follow, and we can trust that that's going to show up when we need it. And therefore we don't need to have it figured out in advance, because it creates suffering. Okay, so hopefully that's been helpful for some of you. Feel free to share it if you have found it helpful, because I know there's so many people at the moment that just want the support and feel like a little bit lost. So that's why I'm popping on and doing this. And yeah, we'll try and pop on, as I say, as often as I possibly can, and just check in with everybody and make sure everybody is okay. All right then, thank you very much for joining me. Take care.